First of all, I'd like to say good morning to you, Miss Beaula Moore.
Good morning.
And Mr. Wayne Davis. I'd like to thank Mr. Tyrone for his efforts this morning, volunteering to come do this recording, which is very important about the history in Guilford.
Okay.
And Miss Beaula, you are such a special person to me. You already know that. You've been in my life since I was yay high to a grasshopper.
Yes.
You've been like a second mother to me, and I know you have some amazing stories,
Well,
and I can't wait to hear them. So I'm going to ask you some questions.
okay.
Feel free to go off the cuff wherever you choose to.
Okay.
First of all, what is your full name, and were you named for anyone else?
Mary Beula Moore.
Okay.
And my name came from the Bible, Beula. But I wasn't named for anybody in particular.
Oh, from the Bible you said your
Uh-huh,
name came
uh-huh,
from.
uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
What chapter of the Bible was that?
I think it's in the book of Isaiah.
Really? Okay, that's very interesting. So, can you tell me where you were born and where you grew up, Miss Beaula?
Well, I was born in Glen Burnie, Maryland, and I was raised in Queenstown. I went to school in Queenstown from the 1st to the 7th grade on Queenstown Road. Then I went to Bates High School, finished my high school education there. But I was born in Queenstown in 1924.
Wow, amazing. That's such a blessing.
Yes, it is.
I'm telling you, it's
Yes,
such
yes,
such
it
a
is.
pleasure
Yes.
and honor to be in your presence.
Thank
It
you.
really
Thank
is.
you.
So the next question is, when and how did your family come to Guilford?
Well, I married Sam Moore, Samuel Moore, who was from Guilford. I don't know how he found Queenstown, but anyway, that's where we met in Queenstown. And I married him in 1940.
And where did you all settle in Guilford? Have you always been here?
No, there was a teacher that used to be at the elementary school, Miss Lorraine Arthur, and her husband had some property down near Asbury Church, and we lived there for about 2 years. And then we moved here to Guilford Road, I think around about 1943. And then we built this house and we moved in here in 1948.
Oh, wow. My goodness.
See, was
So-
in 1948. Let's see. Let me make sure that. I think I might be wrong on that because, see, Philip is 72. So I think it was 748. My husband built this house.
Okay. And Wayne, at any time, if you'd like to jump in and ask questions, please feel free to. Yeah. How did your family make a living in Guilford, Miss Beaula?
Well, when we first got married, my husband worked at the Pentagon. And somehow he started being interested in the concrete building over there, how they were making it all. So he started his own business, and he had a little old truck and a portable cement mixer that he pulled on the back of the truck. And he started his own business. And I think he started it in like 1944 or something like that. And over the course of I think we retired from it in maybe about 1978. But at one time we had as many as 20 employees. It was known as Sam Moore and Sons.
Okay. Yeah. So, can you tell me what your neighbors were like in Guilford?
Oh, this was the best neighborhood you could live in.
Yes, it was.
Yes, I tell you. we lived in between. My husband was one of three brothers, and our house was in between the three.
Mhm.
And it was just, I don't know, it was just having family all around you like that. And across the street here, we have my neighbor's grandson, now Lionel Butler. And of course, all of this was, we used to live about 3 houses over there while we were building this house. And it was amazing how we had a horse. I don't know, my husband borrowed this horse from somewhere, and he used that horse to dig the basement of this house. And then he laid the block, and then we had a carpenter who lived in Catonsville, and he came every day and built. We would buy lumber from a place in Catonsville. We were raising 7 children at that time, and so we would buy lumber a little bit at a time. And as we bought the lumber, then Mr. Yancey would build the house. And this was how we finally moved in here in 1948.
Wow.
40, I keep saying 48. I have to say Philip was born in 1948.
Okay.
Because he's 72. Yeah.
Wow. That visual of the story that you just said is just amazing.
It is.
With
Yeah.
the horse and all that, that's just amazing. How people, did what they could with what they had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're happy.
Yes, we were extremely happy.
Yes.
I used to, we couldn't afford a baseball bat, but we did have a tennis ball, so I would play baseball with my kids in the backyard.
Is that right?
We had a broom handle for a bat.
Oh my goodness. Wow. What, can you tell me a little bit about the school a little bit about the history of the school in Guilford?
Well, when we moved here, Miss Alice Green was the principal at Guilford Elementary.
And where was that school located?
Right up here at the corner of Guilford Road and Mission Road.
Okay.
And then after she passed, Miss Lorraine Arthur became the principal. And then Mrs. Boone and the other name, it was 3 teachers. They'll come to me. She'll come to me in a little bit.
Miss Lowe? Was Miss Lowe around at that time?
Yeah, it was Miss Lowe.
Miss
Yeah.
Cooper?
Miss Cooper, yeah. I think Miss Cooper came before Miss Lowe.
Okay.
Yeah. And Miss, the one I first named, what was her name? I just called her name.
Bernice Cooper, I think.
No, I just called her name a minute ago.
Miss Arthur?
No, Miss Lorraine became the principal.
Okay.
Miss Boone.
Miss Boone, yes, I
yeah,
remember Miss Boone.
Yeah.
Yes, so that school up there on the corner, I mean, what grades were there? And
Well,
how
first
many
to the
rooms?
second, 7th.
First and second.
Yeah.
I think Wayne had a question.
What do you remember about Miss Lorraine Arthur? I've heard her name mentioned a lot.
Well, she was married to Mr. Thomas Arthur. Right down here on the corner of Guilford Road, after you cross Washington Boulevard, they had a house. It's a sort of a dining room there now, but on the other side of that is where their house was. And she was married to Mr. Thomas Arthur, but they didn't have any children. But she remained the principal until they closed the school.
What year was that they closed that school?
Now, you would have to find it from Joyce, because that's when they built the Guilford Elementary.
Oh, okay. I see.
Right up there.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly what year, but I know that my oldest children, let's see, Junior, went there in the first grade. And he was born in 1940, so I knew it was there then. But before that, I don't know, because Miss Alice Green was the principal.
Okay. Now, what was the inside of that school like?
Just 3 big rooms.
Okay.
And they had a wood stove. And the children would have to go out and collect the wood in order to have fire in the wintertime.
Okay.
So, and other than that, there was an outdoor toilet. And other than that, there were no other conveniences.
How many children were in the classroom?
I would think there were like about 20 in each class.
Okay. Most of them came from the Guilford area?
Yeah, right in the area within walking distance because it didn't have bus service.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was still dirt roads.
Yes.
Okay. What community activities did you participate in Guilford?
Oh my gosh! I guess the
slew
first
of
thing, I guess the first thing was the PTA and the Girl Scouts, and let's see, what else did I do? Girl Scouts, the brownies, and you were my brownie, and then I don't know. I would do things like this. In fact, I had these lights put here on Guilford Road. That was one of my projects. And other than that, I don't know. It didn't involve the school. It wasn't anything I would do.
Oh, okay.
Not until my children grew up.
Oh, okay.
After Tubman came, then I became involved in Harriet Tubman. I was some sort of counselor for the young girls about how they dressed, how they walked and talked and things like that. So that was my role for Tubman.
And it was a very important role.
Yeah, I hope it
very
was.
important role.
And then,
Yeah. Okay. What stores were available in the Guilford area? Not many.
Not many. Of course, Miss Dorr, that was mostly, canned and stuff like that. It wasn't a food store.
Right.
But the main store was Savage over here. Storch was the owner of the store over there. And it was a grocery store. And black people couldn't go over there after dark. The children couldn't go past there because they would be stoned and things like that. It was very segregated. But other than that, that was our store.
That was the store where you got your groceries?
Yeah.
Okay. And also, I think Miss Eileen Moore, did she have some kind of store?
She had a store too, but it was just
like a general store?
Well, it wasn't even a general store. It was
Okay.
sodas and things and cupcakes and things like that.
Right.
Wasn't anything you could get hardly at that.
Yeah, like indoor stores. Just,
Yeah, it was
basic things.
Yeah. No
Was there a
candy.
store that was owned by the Colemans near Mission Road?
The Colemans?
Yeah.
No, that was where Miss Eileen Moore's store was in Henry Moore. Eileen and Henry Moore. They had a store. They lived next door. That was
the
before
Colemans.
the Colemans had that house. They built that house there, and then they had this little store there. But they didn't have anything in it, sodas and cookies and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And then eventually, Miss Eileen moved the store down here on the corner of Carroll Heights. For a little while, they had the store down there too.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I remember that store being up there on the corner of Mission Road, and the Coleman house was there, and
Yeah.
then Miss Moore's house.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's where they had the store inside their room.
inside the house.
Okay.
Then the Malloys had a little sort of I don't know what you would call it, because they sold hamburgers and hot dogs and things like that. Fish sandwiches right down here on Carroll Heights too.
Is that right?
Uh-huh. John and Bessie Malloy.
Really? Yeah, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah.
And I never knew about the store that you mentioned in Savage, the Storch.
Yeah.
I guess that was before my
Oh,
time.
yeah. It was there when we moved here. And it's still there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But now Storch is in the realty business
Okay.
because they have a building right next to the post office. So they deal with those, I don't know how many apartments they have over there, but that's what they're into now, real estate.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. What were some of your family traditions in Guilford?
Well, I guess the biggest thing would be Children's Day at First Baptist Guilford. And anything that had to do with the church, it was we were very much involved in the church. In fact, Miss Dora Carter was the one that taught me how to play the piano.
Is that right?
So I played the piano for the Sunday school at First Baptist Guilford.
Wow.
And, but the big thing for us would be Thanksgiving and Christmas
Yeah.
and Children's Day.
Yes.
Yeah, so,
I remember Children's Day. Oh my goodness.
yeah.
That was kind of torture getting your hair together the night before with the straightening comb.
Yes.
What was your religious life like in the Guilford community?
It was very, very much exciting to me, even now. We lived in the house 2 doors over. And my husband had started to go to church, but I was a little skeptical about his really being converted.
And what church did your husband go to?
First Baptist Guilford.
Did he really?
Okay. He joined up there. But I was a little skeptical about what he was talking about, so I began to read the Bible.
Okay.
And at that time, I was pregnant with Stanley. And those days, when you became pregnant, you stayed home, you didn't go places, you didn't go. So anyway, one Wednesday night when I was reading my Bible, I was in the book of Hebrews, the 7th chapter, and I was converted right there in my bed. Stanley was born in February, so then May, I went to First Baptist Guilford.
Is that right?
And then I was baptized by Reverend Jackson.
Is that right?
In May of 1945.
Oh my goodness. I get chills about this history
and then I started being involved in the church. I taught Sunday school there, and I sang on the senior choir. And of course, as I said before, I played for the Sunday school.
Yeah, you just answered my other question when you joined Guilford Church and, how you were active in the church. But I'm amazed that Aunt Dora taught you how to play the piano. I never knew that part.
Yeah.
I never knew that. I just remember her having the studio in the back, and I heard she used to crack people's hands or something.
and that was so funny because there were some kids, that she would hit them on the fingers with the pencil. So they asked me what would I do if she hit me. I thought I'd hit her back.
Oh my goodness!
They were really interested. They said, what would you do if she hit you on it? I said I'd hit her back.
Now, what year did you say you went to Guilford? You joined
1945.
Guilford? Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Wow. May of 1945 was my baptism.
Reverend Charles Jackson was.
Reverend Charles Jackson.
Was his wife living at that time?
I don't know. I don't remember him ever having a wife.
Okay. He did marry Willis Carter's wife.
That's right. He did. Yeah.
So maybe she had passed.
Yeah,
Sure she did.
Probably had, because I don't remember ever seeing her.
Okay.
And I didn't ever remember seeing Miss Dora's husband either.
Okay.
But he had a daughter, Mamie Harker.
Yeah, she lived next door to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I wanted to back up just a little bit about the elementary school. And did you know that they didn't have any electricity or water?
No, now that I don't remember. I don't remember. Because a lot of the kids would come home for lunch. So I don't know.
How about the wood stove and the heat?
Well, you had the kids would have to go out and get the wood. I can't think now. Can't think of the person's name that used to provide the wood for that school. Can't think of his name.
Well, they didn't
Might have been a
coal then.
Coleman. I think it was a Coleman.
a Coleman.
Uh,
Okay.
beg your pardon.
But they didn't have coal at that point in that school to heat with coal.
No. Wood. It is a wood stove.
Oh, okay. So it must have been pretty chilly, you know, when whoever got there first to start that fire.
Yeah.
Wow.
See,
Wait, you have anything
and that school was built by a white man. I have the history of the guy that built that school.
Oh, you do?
Yes,
Yeah.
because what he did, the one that I went to in Glen Burnie, is just like it.
Wow.
He built, I don't know how many of it was. He'd asked the black people to give him, I don't know whether it was $1,000 or $2,000, and he would build the schools. So he built these schools.
Is that right?
They're all just alike.
Wow.
3 rooms. I can't think of his name now, but I do have the information.
Well, maybe you can share that with Wayne if you,
Okay.
with us if you don't mind.
No, I'll have to dig around and find.
Okay, not a problem. We do a lot of digging for history.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's so important.
Because see, I found that out when they had a program down at my school in Glen Burnie, and that's when I found out that this man had these schools built.
Oh, wow.
They were all just alike.
That is
So the one
interesting.
that I went to is now historic.
Really?
Is that Rosenwald?
Yes, that's
Wow.
Right. They contributed some of the money.
yeah. He asked, from what I could understand, that he had asked the community to provide, I think, $1,000 or $2,000, and he put the rest to it and built those schools.
Is that right?
I thought one might be one in Dayton. I'm not sure.
You know, there may be. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. You know, because there's so much history in this county. You know, so it's a possibility.
But his name was Rosenwald.
A lot of old buildings around. Yeah. That'd be interesting to find out. Yeah. Let's see. What experiences stand out most in your mind about the Guilford community and Guilford Church?
Well, the greatest thing that stands out in my mind was when, Guilford Church was just an unusual place for me because, see, I was born Catholic.
Okay.
And so it was a big difference.
The Baptist.
Yeah, for the Baptist church. And an all-black church. Because, see, I was born in Glen Burnie. So there was a white Catholic church. The back of it had 2 seats on each side of the church for black people. And my mother and I would walk to this church, which was about 2.5 miles. And if we got there and those 4 seats were taken, we stood. Yes. And so it was a big difference that when I came to Guilford, they were all black and I could sit anywhere I wanted to sit, you know. So, and the people in Guilford were just so friendly. You know, it was a big difference to me to come here and, you know, just be so readily accepted
Yes.
like that. And to be in a community just like my community where we live, because in my community, all Gators and Queens,
Okay.
and we were all just so close. And so I didn't really know anything about stores being segregated like up here. And then, of course, you know, they had this beer garden up here in Niceless.
Right. I remember that.
And the black men, they would drink around the back or somewhere, you know.
You had a black side and a white side.
Yeah.
Yeah, just when you just told me that story about how you and your mom had to walk to church and, you know, if there were no seats, you know, you had to stand up. How did that make you feel?
Well, at that time, you know, it was just acceptable. You didn't, you know, it was just something you just thought was natural.
Yeah.
And my mother used to ride the train to work. She did day's work. And now and then I would go with her. And the same thing was on the train. The two back seats were for blacks. So one day we got on the train and this white woman was sitting on the back seat and she had packages sitting beside her. And my mother said to me, "Put them on the floor." And the white lady was looking at me and I was looking at my mother and I was saying, well, I gotta go home with her. So I put the packages on the floor and then I sat.
Oh.
But it was something that you just didn't think was wrong. So you
Right.
just did it, you
Yeah.
know.
Okay. Do you know any stories about the Guilford quarry, the railroad between Savage and Guilford?
That I don't.
Okay. Are you aware of any swimming holes in Guilford?
I used to hear my husband talk about a swimming hole, but where it was, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I remember a swimming hole on Burger Road.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of water. We used to go around there and just hang out. We call that our beach.
Okay.
But it was on Burger Road, and I think, Wayne, was that a part of a quarry back there on Burger Road? I think I
believe
had.
it was.
Yeah, I'm asking you, do you think that might have been part of a quarry on Burger Road? Because I remember a big body of water being back there, whole bunch of rocks, and we would just go back there and hang out and call it our beach. But it was on Burger Road.
Yeah, it's quite possible.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know if you've ever heard of this or not, but on Mission Road, where they're clearing for the high schools, there was a house back there, the Crones,
Okay.
and they had a slave girl,
Mm-hmm.
and her name was, I can't remember her name right now, but anyway, she was afraid to talk to anybody. And Sam and Robert Coleman saw her one day at the mailbox, and they tried to talk to her, but she was afraid to talk.
Oh, wow.
And when she died, I think they wanted to bury her in Guilford, but they wouldn't let her be buried.
You said on Mission Road? And what
You
was
know
the
what?
name of the family?
Crones.
Crones. Oh, you familiar
You
with
know-
that, Wayne?
You know where Teddy's house was?
Yes.
It was back in the woods, right back there.
Is that right?
They just tore that house down since they were trying to make room for these schools.
Oh, is that right? The Crones family. You're not familiar with them? Oh, okay. How were holidays celebrated in your family?
Ooh, my goodness. I don't know.
Bunch of you.
Yes. I always liked to cook.
Uh-huh.
So I would have my family from the Gaithers. They'd come up here. And we'd have Thanksgiving and Christmas it was. You know, we'd have the big dinners and somehow or other, I don't know how many years ago it's been, but we found a farm, maple farm up in Fulton.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how my husband got to be so picky about food because he came from a family of 11 children that lived. I think Miss Emma had 18, but 11 lived.
Okay.
So, but I guess once he got so, you know, had his own business and could buy anything he wanted to, he found this farm, Maple Farm up in Fulton.
Yeah, I know exactly where it is.
Okay, so every year for Christmas and Thanksgiving, we would have fresh turkey.
Okay.
Yeah, and I still do.
Yeah, that farm has been there. Matter of fact, my husband and I were talking about that farm the other day.
Uh-huh.
He said, you know, it was there when he was a boy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
so I think the Yeager family owns it.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, so, yeah, in fact, I'm getting ready to order my turkey. So that's been going on for years.
What types of jobs were available in the Guilford area during your years here? What types of jobs?
Well, they were, my sister-in-law used to work at a children's center. It was a place for girls. I'm not too sure. I think it was in Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
But it was for girls, and she used to work there.
Mm-hmm.
And then most of the people around here worked in Fort Meade.
Okay. Okay.
Because my husband worked there. He used to work there. And he'd bring home $90 every 2 weeks. Can you imagine taking care of a family like that and building a house at that time, too?
Jeez.
And finally, when we got the house built, our mortgage was $40 a month.
What?
Can you imagine that?
No, I cannot. I wish it was like that now. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Mhm.
Talk about survival.
Yes,
You
yes,
know?
yes.
Wow.
Your husband, you mentioned he was working with concrete for a while.
Mhm.
What did he do the rest of his career? How long did he do that? And did he do something?
Oh, he started that business in the 40s and retired in the 70s. At that time, as I said, he had about 20 employees. One of them was her brother, James. That's the one I keep asking about. And there were maybe about 6 or 7 guys from Baltimore City. And there were quite a few people from Dorsey that worked for him. We had about 20 employees.
Mm-hmm.
And gosh, we had a bobcat, and each one of the boys, 3 of the boys worked, so they each had their own trucks. And he had a truck. Then we had a dump truck. So if you look in the back of the yard, you see some of the junk is still down there. We had everything that you could imagine. In fact, he started one guy in business.
Okay. Who's that?
But his name was Daly, but he's dead now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when did your husband become a reverend, and who ordained him?
He was called to the ministry, I think around about maybe about 1950 or something. Like, I have all the papers in there. I can get the correct dates for you later on. But he was going to First Baptist Guilford.
Okay.
under Reverend Wright. So that'll give you some idea. Not Wright, Webb.
Oh, Reverend Webb.
Uh-huh,
Okay.
uh-huh. And that's when he was called to the ministry under his administration.
Oh.
And he had a little problem with Reverend Webb because Reverend Webb was a little jealous.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so in I think it might have been 61 or something like that, my husband was called to pastor the First Baptist, Unity Baptist Church in Elkridge.
Mm-hmm.
But Reverend Webb didn't want to ordain him because he was, kind of jealous. So then the deacon board of that church said, if you don't ordain him, then we will.
Okay.
So then Reverend Webb ordained him, and he became the pastor of Guilford. And he pastored at Guilford for over 40 years. I mean, at Unity.
Okay.
For over 40 years.
Oh, okay.
And of course, his son is there now.
Yes. Are there any stories you'd like to share about Guilford life that were, just stood out the most about Guilford? And what do you miss the most about how Guilford used to be?
I miss the neighborhood.
Yes, me too,
Because
Miss Beula.
I don't know, it was just so much fun just to walk from house to house.
Yes.
And, since Blackwell used to live down the street, and I'd go to the mailbox and be waving, yelling to her. And it's just, the Flurries that lived up there, and Margie Thomas, everybody was in walking distance, and it was just so nice.
Like one family.
One family.
Mm-hmm.
And when we came here, we had mailboxes, but all the black people had one number, and it was 23. So Bessie Malloy and I got together, and we decided that we were going to name this Guilford Road. Mm-hmm. So we started out Box 23 Guilford Road. And after that, somebody started making up numbers. But for years, we were just Box 23. Wow. All the black people.
Oh, my goodness.
And I can't think of, because the white man that was the mailman, he knew us all. I can't think of his name now. I've been trying to remember his name. Yeah. But he did, that was everybody on Guilford Road.
Well, I remember living at my grandparents' house on Cartersville, and it was P.O. Box 181, Guilford, Maryland. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, we didn't have any number on our mailbox or anything like
No, because I guess mail wasn't that, frequent, that everybody knew.
Yeah.
And they didn't call this Guilford Road then, huh?
No. Bessie Malloy and I started putting Guilford Road on our return addresses.
What did they refer to this as?
This was just Route 32.
Okay.
Because this was Route 32, and it after they built the new 32, was supposed to alleviate some of this traffic, but it didn't.
It didn't.
But well, that's because they built all these houses around here. Yeah. Have you been down there where Miss James used to live?
I haven't been in that area, but I can only imagine. I can only imagine how built up it is.
Yeah.
That's what I miss, all of this. Well, this is progress, but I just miss the old Guilford.
Yeah.
I miss the old Guilford because, like you said, we could leave our doors open.
That
we
door
could,
stayed open.
Yeah, I mean, it was like one. Well, they used to call it Upper Guilford and Lower Guilford, but it was all Guilford.
Yeah.
And it was just like one big
family. It was.
Big family.
Yeah.
Everybody, you knew everybody in Guilford.
You did. The Moores and the Colemans.
Yeah.
And then what was it, Carries, you know,
Yeah.
on Lockbridge Road.
And we used to,
It
on
was-
Halloween, groves of us
Oh.
would come down here and just go
On Halloween, the
trick-or-treating.
kids would be here, but now, you know, you can't
No,
do it.
I mean, it was safe.
Mm-hmm.
It was safe. I can't even think. I can't even think of anything bad that happened.
No.
I can't.
The only thing that happened when they integrated the schools, some white guys, well, young boys, came through here. That was at Tubman was just started,
Okay.
and through I guess it must have been some little bomb that they made. They threw it down in the driveway.
Oh wow.
Mhm. So,
Oh.
and Charles got in the car, and it scared me to death because he was, it was a terrible thing if he had caught them.
Right.
He would have wound up killed or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
can't remember. I just remember happy times in Guilford.
yeah,
Can't
yeah.
remember nothing bad ever happening.
It didn't get bad until the integration,
Yeah.
and it was mostly in the schools.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't too much in the communities.
Yeah.
It
the
was like,
schools.
yeah, but the schools were very bad because I knew Valerie and Cynthia, and they never told me how they would ride the buses and they would be called niggers
Yeah.
and things like that. And, it was really rough for them in the schools.
Well, I remember when they integrated schools, and I lived on Cartersville, and my cousin Wayne lived on Carter's Lane.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a short ride,
Yeah.
but from that ride, from
Mm-hmm.
my house to his, I was traumatized.
Yes.
I was like, please hurry up and get on this bus.
I'm telling you, it was.
But we survived it.
We did.
We survived it,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it's
It was
history,
yeah.
and life goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How did Savage or dealing with Savage play into any of this?
You didn't mess around in Savage.
No, you did not. Mm-mm.
And the funny thing about it was, I don't know why, but for some reason, I went to Clifton T. Perkins State Hospital. They had open house there, and I went down there, and I met some of the ladies there, and one of them was from Savage. Her name was Virginia Suter, and they had the auxiliary, and they invited me to join. So I did, along with two ladies from our church, Ms. Brogdon and Ms. Brown. And eventually they left, but I stayed, and I became the president of the auxiliary. And Jenny Suter, Virginia Suter, she just became attached to me. She wanted me to move to Savage. I told her no. I told her no, I could not be over there, but and I told her, I said, because they don't like us. But I don't know if she's still living or not. But she had a daughter that went to school in Cynthia,
Okay.
at the high school. I think her name was Gloria Suter.
Okay. Yeah, I never experienced any bad things about Savage. As a matter of fact, I used to work there.
Uh-huh.
But and then I remember my grandmother taking me there to a laundromat.
Mm-hmm.
But I never experienced anything bad, but I heard the stories.
Yeah.
I heard the stories, and then my grandmother told me how her brother, he was a very light-skinned man,
Mm-hmm.
and he would go to Savage, and they never knew that he was a black man.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
as I said, I've never experienced anything bad.
Yeah.
Just heard stories.
Yeah, and that was mostly, just we knew,
Right.
that you didn't go to
That you
Savage.
didn't go there.
It was okay to go shopping during the day.
Yes, you could go to the Storches. The store was the grocery store. You could go there, but you didn't.
Not at night.
At night.
But they were welcoming in a way, or tolerated?
Well, they tolerated you. Your money didn't have any color.
I wonder where that originated from. That division. Where did that? I wonder where that came from.
I don't know, because my husband used to work in the mill, because they had a Savage mill over there.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to work in the mill. That was before I married him. He used to work over there, and I don't even know what the mill was about.
Yeah.
But because some of the buildings are still there.
Mm-hmm.
But we just didn't hang around there.
Yeah, because I remember when they opened up the restaurant over there, Ram's Head,
Yeah.
and my cousin Victor Carter and Betty Carter and myself, we ate there.
Uh-huh.
They were just amazed that we could be eating
Oh yeah.
at a restaurant in Savage.
Well, yeah. 'Cause
And I was like, okay, it's no big deal.
that was after they rebuilt it and built that shopping center in there.
Right.
Yeah, because before then, you didn't.
Yeah, they just couldn't believe it.
Mm-mm.
They were just like amazed
Yeah.
that we were sitting in a restaurant in Savage eating. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
no big deal to me. I didn't experience it, but they did.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And for Miss Dora's store,
Mhm.
that was welcoming to anybody?
Yes, as long as you didn't come in there with shorts on.
You had to be dressed properly. Anybody could come in that store.
Yeah,
Anybody.
anybody. But you could not come in there with shorts on. I'm gonna tell you, she didn't care whether you was black or white.
Yeah. She opened that door.
Mhm.
She would look you from head to toe.
That's right.
And if you weren't dressed properly,
That's
you
right.
could not come
you
in.
couldn't come in
She
there.
would say, you can't come in. It didn't matter, boy, girl, whatever.
And she wasn't no bigger than a minute.
No, she wasn't. She might have been 4 feet, I don't know.
Maybe.
But she was very particular
Yeah.
about
And
the
that little,
way you
that
dressed.
wear that little cap on her head.
Yes, all the time. All the time. I mean, I've
Yeah,
seen so
yeah.
many people turned away,
Yeah.
that couldn't come in.
Right.
And
yeah.
they should have known the rule,
Yeah.
but they tried her anyway.
Yeah.
So, Wayne, do you have anything else that you'd like to add? Or this has been a wonderful, wonderful
Well,
experience.
yes.
I'm curious about about your feelings at the time of Route 32 and Interstate 95 coming in here, and whether any of this was going to become part of Columbia.
Well, they tried to make this a part of Columbia, but Victor's wife, is this his second wife?
No.
Okay, I can't think of Bernadette or Berna. I can't think of her name now, but she was a Carter,
Okay.
and she and I,
Bertina?
Bertina,
That's my aunt.
Bertina and I got 300 signatures to keep this part from becoming Columbia.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And we also worked to get people to be able to live in that community. They called it Monarch now, but it was Guilford.
Guilford Gardens.
Alcinda was one of the people that we got in there.
Really?
Uh-huh. And we started that canvas. We got 300 signatures. And I'm going to tell you, Reverend Wright never cared for me from that day on, because he was trying to let all of this be Columbia. But we wanted it not to be a part of Columbia. So actually, all this is Jessup.
Yeah.
But down on the corner, they claim they're Columbia, but it's
Really?
Jessup.
This is still Jessup.
This is Jessup.
Is that
It's
right?
our mailboxes.
Okay.
Jessup. Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Up to Mission Road.
Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never knew that one.
Yeah, so we made, I couldn't think of it, but it was Bertina.
Yeah, Bertina.
Yeah, she and I walked this road.
What?
got 300 signatures.
Wow.
Kept it from being there.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
When the expressway went through, was it more difficult to
See,
go
yeah.
back and forth?
Well, it wasn't. It was when I worked for the county as a field director for adult basic education, and before this became Guilford Road, so to speak, this was 32. So I used to have to drive from Elk Ridge, Route 1, and here come up through we used to go to Savage right up here, but they closed that road to make this road. But I had to drive all over Hannah. I worked from here to Mount Airy to start the basic education classes. So I did that for 5 years, and I gave it up because the dean at the community college, he wanted to hire ladies that had doctorates. And I tried to explain to him that people were more comfortable with people that at least had, a college degree, but not doctorates and things like that. So his name was Dr. Dean DeSantis. So then he couldn't get me to do that. So then he wanted me to train some women to do my job. So then I told him I'm not that dumb, that I would train somebody to do my job. So I quit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But, and I have some pictures of a couple of ladies that graduated from high school.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, when I was first recruiting students, I went to Ellicott City, and I don't know, but the first house I went to, there were 2 white ladies there, and I talked to them, and they were very excited about it. And I guess they somehow or another they told somebody, and it got in the newspaper, and had my picture in there that Beaula Moore hunts illiterates.
Oh.
So when I went back to sign them up for class, they were angry because they thought I called them illiterates, but I told them it wasn't my language. But one of them had, I think her husband was a policeman.
Mm-hmm.
So they were very angry with me. I had a problem then, trying to get people to sign up. But I did wind up with 7 classes for adult basic education.
Okay.
So
that's wonderful.
yeah, so
That's wonderful.
so I did that for 5 years.
Okay. Wow. Well, I have certainly enjoyed this time with you. I mean,
Yeah.
every time I'm in your presence, it's always a wonderful time. It really is.
Yeah.
I appreciate you allowing us to come in the midst of a pandemic. And I hope and pray that this recording will open up a lot of people's minds and eyes to receive the history that's right here in our community.
I hope
It
so.
needs to be acknowledged. We cannot let it die.
No.
It can't be swept under the rug because it happened.
Yes.
This area has so much history in it.
It does. It really does. It really
And I
does.
appreciate you.
Well,
And I thank you. Virtual hugs to you and kisses.
And hugs and kisses to both of you. Nice seeing you again. And
Same
thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
I
so
hope
much.
I've been some help to you and whatever.
You've been a lot of help. And this article that you shared with me, I could do cartwheels.
Well,
Because this is
Well,
you know, this is
well, you can see how long I've had it.
yes, 1972,
And
and
you
I
know,
see my grandmother's house in the background as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
You know,
And I've
so-
always enjoyed, I don't know, because like I said, when we came here, things were so limited. And I used to have the bookmobile come. And so my kids could have the benefit of having the library.
Yeah,
And so the bookmobile came every 2 weeks.
is that right?
Uh-huh. And of course, you know, Valerie is now 69.
Yes.
And all of my children are still readers.
Is that right?
All of them.
Wow.
They still read. Yeah.
Well, back in that day was nothing much to do.
Wasn't in it? Yeah.
I
No.
remember having encyclopedias,
Oh my gosh.
having a
Mr.
bookshelf in my room. That's all I did.
You remember Mr. Kraft was selling the encyclopedias?
Yes.
I bought a set of them from
Yeah.
him. Yeah. So
My grandmother made sure that
oh
I
yes.
read
Yes,
everything.
Yes.
You
yes.
remember the collection of Little Women?
Yes.
I would get a book every Christmas. It was a big deal.
It was, and you know, and it's so strange to me because you have built those 4 houses over there, and they're just there. You know, years ago we would have been, you know, friends and whatever, but now they don't. You
You
know,
don't even know them.
no, and then of course all across up here, they stuck those houses so close together.
Right.
You know.
Totally different world now.
It is. It really
But at
is.
least the people like you and I who've been here,
Yes.
we still communicate.
Yes.
You know, nothing has changed.
Nothing.
It's still the same.
It's still
Yeah, it's still
it's-
the same.
good old Guilford.
Good old Guilford. I think we're done here. Miss Beula, this has been such a pleasure.
Well,
I wish I could hug you, because I'm a hugger.
I know.